13 stories, 13 Alabama places, no detours. Jeffrey opens the door, but the people inside these legends carry the night. Some were cheated, some were abandoned, some died under violence that a town preferred to turn into folklore. We begin near Cortland, then move south through Tuscaloosa, Marion, Old Cahaba, the Tombigbee, Demopolis, Carrollton, Mobile, Selma, Newton, Montgomery, Furman, and Kinston. Each town keeps its own ghost. Once we leave, we do not bring that spirit into another story. Listen for the sound that belongs to each place. A hammer, a candle, a piano, a scream, a fiddle. The first sound comes from beneath a vanished castle. West of Cortland stood Rocky Hill Castle, built for Colonel James Saunders with a tower that made the house look ready for war. The legend says a French architect designed the mansion, presented his bill, and was refused payment. He left furious, cursing the man who had taken his work. After the architect died, the Saunders family began hearing a hammer below the dining room. They would rush into the cellar. Silence. The moment they returned upstairs, the hammer started again. Slow, hard blows against the foundation. Night after night, the unpaid architect chipped at the house he had created, not trying to enter it, but trying to bring it down around the family who lived above him. In Tuscaloosa, Sarah Drish made one request before she died. She wanted the same candles used around her husband's coffin burned around hers. When the time came, the candles could not be found, and her family buried her without them. Soon, people saw flames inside the tower of the Drish house. Neighbors ran toward the mansion expecting fire, but there was no smoke, no heat, and no damage. The light simply burned behind the glass. Servants believe Sarah had returned to complete her own funeral. On certain nights, the tower still appears to ignite, and anyone watching long enough may see a woman moving between the candles, arranging the ceremony the living failed to give her. Near Marion, Carlisle Hall rose above the countryside with a tower room facing the road. The story remembers a young woman who watched from that room for the man she loved. He had promised to return. Days became seasons. Carriages passed without stopping. News never came. She kept the window lit and waited until death ended the vigil. The house later stood empty, but travelers reported a pale woman behind the tower glass. She never waved, she never called out, she only searched the road. When someone approached the house, the figure disappeared, leaving a single candle in the abandoned room. Carlisle Hall's ghost does not chase visitors. She watches them leave, each one becoming another person who came down the road and failed to return for her. Old Cahaba had already lost its place as Alabama's capital when the Pegues family made a home there. Behind their house stood a cedar maze where couples walked at night. One moonlit evening, two young people entered the hedges and found a round white light floating in the path. It held at the height of a human face. When they stepped back, it moved forward. When they turned, it appeared at the next opening. They ran through the maze while the light followed, without footsteps, breath, or shadow. At the exit, it vanished. Years later, flood, war, and dismantling emptied Cahaba. The maze disappeared. The glowing watcher remained in the story, guarding the outline of a city Alabama abandoned. On March 1st, 1858, the steamboat Eliza Battle traveled the flooded Tombigbee on a bitterly cold night. Fire broke out among the cotton bales and raced across the wooden decks. Passengers woke inside smoke and flame. Some jumped into freezing water. Some clung to cotton bales. Others reached trees along the flooded bank and waited for rescue while the burning vessel drifted downstream. Many died from drowning or exposure. Afterward, river crews reported seeing the Eliza Battle on cold, windy nights, blazing from bow to stern. Music played while voices screamed for help. The phantom boat gave off no heat. Rivermen treated its appearance as a warning. Another disaster was moving somewhere on the dark water. At Gaineswood in Demopolis, the legend centers on Evelyn Carter, a young woman remembered for her music. She died during winter after asking to be returned to Virginia for burial. Travel was impossible, so the story says her coffin was kept beneath the cellar stairs until the weather changed. That night, the piano began playing in the empty parlor. Heavy footsteps crossed the floor above the coffin, climbed toward the cellar door, and stopped against it. Even after Evelyn's body was taken north, the music continued. Visitors heard a full melody from a damaged piano with missing keys. Others heard skirts moving through empty rooms. Evelyn's ghost was not searching for strangers. She was trying to leave a house that had delayed her final journey home. In Carrollton, Henry Wells was accused of burning the Pickens County Courthouse. By 1878, a new courthouse stood on the square, and Wells was hidden in its garret while a mob gathered outside. He looked through a window at people demanding his death. A storm broke over the town. Lightning struck nearby and flashed against the glass. Afterward, a face appeared in the pane, eyes wide, mouth tense, fixed above the square. The legend says the lightning captured Wells at the moment he understood what waited below. Rain, hail, cleaning chemicals, and replacement panes came and went. The face remained. Carrollton turned a terrified black man's last hours into a landmark, and the courthouse still looks down through his expression. On State Street in Mobile lived a sea captain who spoke little and walked each afternoon toward the docks, smoking a small pipe beneath his cap. Neighbors called him unfriendly. The ships were the only company he seemed to want. One day a gunshot sounded upstairs. His body fell down the staircase. Years later, the Smallwood family moved into the house. Tobacco smoke drifted through rooms when no one was smoking. The cook saw the captain standing at the kitchen door. Children heard a heavy body striking each stair, one step at a time, though the staircase was empty. Outside, he crossed the yard toward the waterfront, always alone, still taking the same walk to ships that would never carry him away. John Parkman bought Sturtevant Hall in Selma and became president of the First National Bank. After the Civil War, cotton speculation wrecked the bank. Federal authorities arrested him and held him at Cahaba. Friends helped him attempt an escape, but Parkman was killed before he could return home. Soon, Sturtevant Hall began behaving as if its former owner had come back. Doors opened, footsteps crossed rooms. A man's reflection appeared where no man stood. The legend gives Parkman what life denied him, a return to the mansion. It also traps him there. He can climb the staircase, enter the parlor, and look over everything he lost, but he cannot reclaim his name, his bank, or the life that collapsed with them. In Newton, Bill Skeeto was seized and hanged near the Choctawhatchee River in December 1864. The men who killed him dug a shallow hole beneath his feet because the rope and tree limb did not leave enough space for his body. No trial proved the accusations against him. After the hanging, townspeople filled the hole. By morning, it was empty. They packed it with dirt, trash, and debris. Each time the hole returned, clean and open beneath the tree. Campers covered it before sleeping and woke to find the ground swept bare. The legend said Skeeto's swinging feet cleared the dirt every night. For generations, Newton kept the hole as a mark the earth itself refused to hide. At Huntingdon College in Montgomery, students tell of Martha, a young woman sent south from New York. She arrived with red curtains, a red bedspread, and a red robe, color surrounding a life that became painfully isolated. Other students left her alone. Homesickness hardened into despair. Martha died in her fourth-floor room. Afterward, crimson light flashed above the door, and a woman in red appeared in the corridor. She walked toward students, then passed through locked rooms or vanished at the stairwell. The fear in this story is not that Martha suddenly became strange. It is that everyone noticed her loneliness and treated it as someone else's problem. Pratt Hall remembers the student its community failed to reach. In Furman, Wilcox County, Dr. John Purefoy ordered a new well dug behind his house. He warned the workers to brace the sandy walls with a wooden casing. After he left, they stopped building the support because it slowed the job. The well collapsed. One man disappeared beneath tons of earth. His companions dug through the night and heard faint cries below them, but they never reached him. The body remained under the yard. Grass would not grow over the sunken ground. At night, tenants saw a dark figure sitting on the bare spot, crying, "Get me out of here." The legend does not need a monster. It keeps repeating the voice of a worker buried by a preventable decision. Near Kinston, William Granser Harrison built a dance hall and filled Saturday nights with fiddle music, food, horses, and dancers. He loved the parties enough to plan his burial around them. Granser ordered an above-ground tomb near the hall and asked to be laid inside on his feather bed, dressed in his dancing clothes and clogs. He died in 1860. The dances faded and the hall fell silent. Then travelers began hearing a fiddle near the cemetery. Feet tapped around the tomb. Some saw an old man dancing alone in the road. Granser is the rare ghost who does not seem trapped by grief. He returns because the party ended before he was ready to stop moving. Those are the 13. The Hammer beneath Rocky Hill, Sarah's Candles in Tuscaloosa, The Watcher at Carlisle Hall, The Light in Cahaba's Maze, The Burning Eliza Battle, Evelyn's Piano at Gaineswood, Henry Wells in the Carrollton Window, Mobile's Pipe-Smoking Captain, John Parkman in Selma, Bill Skeeto's Open Hole, Huntingdon's Red Lady, The Buried Voice in Furman, and Granser dancing near Kinston. Jeffrey remains outside the chapters, holding the door while each town speaks for itself. These stories survive because their sounds are simple and impossible to forget. If you visit, respect the sites and the dead. Do not trespass. Do not provoke. Just listen. Alabama's ghosts have been telling their stories long enough without our help.